Okay, so in this video, I'm going to do a follow-up review to my pre-review of the REV'IT super expensive motorcycle boot, also known as the REV'IT Expedition GTX boot. Now, if you watched my previous video, you know I did a pre-review because I actually purchased the Expedition GTX boot as well as the Discovery GTX boot because I wasn't sure which one I was going to take on my trip to Alaska. Well, I returned the Discovery boot and took the Expedition one. Mainly the reason why is actually because when I ordered these boots originally, I wear these riding pants. You've probably seen in my videos, I wear these kind of riding jeans on my trip, right? And so I didn't realize that those things are not going to fit over this part here. I didn't realize that. And so when I ordered these, I was like, oh shit, like what am I going to do? Do I put the jeans inside? Like what would I do with these things? So that's why I ordered the Discovery ones because I thought this shin protection area would be smaller. And I thought I could get my jeans over top of them. Turns out you can't. Both of them are too big. So I returned the Discovery ones and kept the Expedition one because this one has more protection. And that's obviously why I bought them. So that's what I got right here. This is the, what's it called? The REV'IT Expedition GTX, also known as the super expensive. So I thought I would just give you some of my thoughts on this boot after having gone to Alaska. And so this review will be really quick. And I got some notes here. I'm going to keep looking to the side here because I'm old and I can't remember any shit anymore. So pros of this thing are very comfortable, super comfortable. Here's the deal. I am no expert on motorcycle gear or anything like that at all. There's a bunch of other YouTubers who are experts on this stuff. Go watch their videos. I don't have a clue what I'm talking about. What I do know is, on a spectrum, you've got, actually, let me show you. Okay, so on a spectrum, you've got one end of the scale there. I never know which is the Z and which is the Y and the X. How do people know that? I don't know that. I don't know. Whatever this is. On one end, you have this. This is like an urban boot. You might see a lot of people riding this with this kind of boot, right? It has some protection in the toe, but like none in the ankle there, and like obviously none here, and like none like this way at all. This is essentially leather paper mache because this is not going to do anything. Actually, I just noticed it has a little puck protector in the ankle here. So if you land right on your ankle bone, you slide right on your ankle bone, it might protect you for a few feet. But this is basically not going to offer you any protection hardly at all, especially if you fall and the bike lands on you. Now, once again, if you watch my previous video, you know that's why I decided to upgrade the boot because my bike did land on me. In Mexico, it landed on me, but luckily I was in some soft sand and I felt the bike land on my foot and go into the sand. So I think the sand saved my ankle. But what the hell was I talking about there a second ago? I just totally lost my train of thought there. So anyway, this is not going to protect you at all, right? Oh yeah, okay. So let's go to the other side of the XYZ, whatever axis this is. So on the other side, you have a motocross boot. Now, motocross boot, I don't have one to show you, but I'll put a picture on the screen here. Motocross boot is super strong. It'll definitely protect you. If you want maximum protection, a motocross boot is the way to go. They're not flexible at all. It's almost like wearing a cast, really. But that will give you the most protection. If you want something in the middle, from my understanding, that's what this offers. Because this boot here, the thing I really like about it is the fact that one, it has really good ankle protection. This is really stiff. You can't bend this at all. Like this is really good ankle protection here. And as some of you may or may not know, if you bust your ankle, that takes a long ass time to heal. I haven't done it personally, but a good friend of mine, he broke his ankle on his bicycle. And it's still not 100. That was like 10 years ago. It's still not 100% healed. He had to have all these rods in the thing, like a mechano set. And because there's always little tiny bones in there that don't necessarily heal properly. So you're kind of hobbling around for a long time. If you break like this bone or like big bone or something like that, put it together, you're good to go. But hand bones, ankle bones, all those little tiny ones, they take a long time to heal. So anyways, this thing's got good ankle protection. The second thing is it's got good, whatever you call this protection. It doesn't bend, so you're not going to snap your leg back that way. So that's what I really like about this thing. Obviously, it's got this big honking shin pad here, which is what was preventing me from getting my pants over top. Good toe box, etc., etc. So overall, I would say if you're thinking of the scale of like this thing, which is essentially useless, to like motocross, I would say that this boot definitely falls probably more so towards the motocross side rather than the, you know, just for show side. So that's what I really wanted. I wanted a boot that wasn't fully motocross, but was as close to motocross as I could get, but while also being quite comfortable to walk in. And I have to say that after my trip to Alaska, hiking around there, riding on the bike and all that, this boot definitely fit the bill for me. I really felt good in these boots the whole trip. It's very comfortable. Luckily, I didn't have any major falls or anything like that, so I didn't have to test any of the protection. But you know, you can just kind of feel it. It does feel sturdy. It does feel strong. You can go on the REVIT website, look at all the specs and all that if you want. But I can tell you that the boot is extremely comfortable to obviously to ride in, extremely comfortable to walk in. I was doing a bit of hiking around there, and overall, I found the boot's really great. So there's a couple features I want to just kind of point out in terms of comfort here. One of the things I really like is this little pivot point here. I don't know if I can demonstrate this or not, but this little pivot point here makes it quite comfortable to walk in. Without this pivot point, you're kind of walking around like in a ski boot, right? But this pivot point actually makes it really comfortable to walk in. Inside's comfortable. Everything overall, the boot's really comfortable. Okay, so very comfortable. We've established it's comfortable. We've established it's got lots of protection on it. The other thing I like the fact that it's waterproof. Really 100% waterproof. I had tested it when I was in Alaska. Hey, let's go test to see how waterproof the REVIT super expensive boots are. They're supposed to be waterproof, so let's go see. Are they really waterproof? Let's go find out. It'd be funny if I fell over. Okay, REVIT super expensive. Are they waterproof? You know what? I think they are. I don't feel any water coming into the inside. That's pretty cool. What if I go deeper? Let's go deeper and find out. Whoa! That's pretty cool. I'm calf deep in the water. I don't feel any water coming through. So yeah, like I rode through rainstorms, I walked through streams, 100% waterproof. This says it's got some Gore-Tex in it. You can look online whether you think Gore-Tex is a scam or not. I don't know. But I can tell you this is that it definitely is waterproof. Did my feet feel hot in this thing? I don't remember. I think my feet always kind of feel hot, to be honest, but definitely waterproof. I have no problems riding with this in a rainstorm or anything like that. Once again, like super comfortable. My feet were nice and toasty warm. And you can go hiking in it. You can walk through streams. Got good tread on the bottom here. So definitely waterproof, much more than these things. These things are advertised as waterproof, but they're not. If I ride through a rainstorm, my feet will get wet. But these things go through a rainstorm, no problem. Go through water, wade through water, like no problem. Hiking boot, no problem. All fantastic. Okay, so waterproof. The other thing I liked about these boots actually is the fact that the toe box here is not super big. Previous to this, I had ordered I think it's called the CD Adventure boot. I'll put the picture on the screen here. And I found that with the toe box on those is so big, I had a really difficult time getting under my shifter. Look at me, I'm like practically hiding behind my boot here. It shows you how much of an unprofessional YouTuber I am. But yeah, I couldn't like fit this thing under my shifter. But I like how this one here is not super big. It's actually quite thin, quite narrow, thin, small, I guess, short, whatever you want to call it. So it's quite easy to get under the shifter. I've gone through like a number of boots, trying to find the right one and messing around with my shifter and all that kind of stuff. And the one thing the reason why I keep going back to this thing is this shit is really easy because it's so flexible. It's like a running shoe. It's really easy to get under my shifter, right? And so every single time I've ordered I got to get protection. I'm going to order a pair of boots. I've always found it difficult to get under my shifter. But not with these. I was really surprised at how easy it was to get under the shifter. They got this rubber padding around here, so it doesn't, you got some protection there and all that. So fantastic. Last thing is ease of use of getting on and off. Yeah, this thing's here. It's got this BOA system here. So you just, you pull this thing and it just pops out like that. You see that in here? So it just opens up like that. And you just, slide I'll turn it this way so you can actually see what the hell I'm doing. Yeah, so you just pop that open, slide your foot in there, and then once you've got your foot in there, you just, hear that? quite satisfying actually. To like just twist this up and put the Velcro around and you're all good to go. So getting in and out of these things, super easy. I heard the previous model wasn't that easy, but this thing's super easy, get in and out, no problem. Okay, so those are all the good things about it. Second, things I don't like about it, the cons about it, is they're expensive. Yeah, they're pretty damn expensive. They're about $695 US, over $1,000 Canadian. It's a lot of money to spend on a motorcycle boot, but it's a lot more if you have to protect, if you bust your ankle. I don't know about where you live, but I mean, depending on your healthcare, it could cost thousands of dollars if you break your ankle. So just kind of picture like, yeah, it's expensive, but how much is your ankle worth, right? Certainly, I imagine there's probably other boots out there that are cheaper that offer just as much protection. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't really looked. I haven't tried all these other boots, so I don't really know. But I mean, from what I read, this boot seems to offer the most protection short of a motocross boot. And so, yeah, it's expensive, but I like my ankles, so it is what it is. The other con is, and if you notice, if I watched my previous video, is you can't wear these with riding jeans unless you tuck your jean in, because this thing is so wide, I can't get my jeans around it. But if you wear riding pants, like, no big deal. But be aware of that though. Like, you look at the diameter of these things, because the riding pants that I wore on my trip to Alaska, they didn't even fit around this. I emailed REVIT and I asked them if they're like Sand 5 riding pants will fit, and they said yes. So I guess your riding pant has to have quite a wide bottom to get over these boots. You know, if you have kind of a narrow one like the one I took to Alaska, they didn't fit. They're just kind of flapping around all over the place. So just kind of a small gripe, I guess. Two other gripes that are kind of a little bit more serious. One is they're pretty squeaky. Should my boots squeak this much? Listen. Now, this may or may not be a big or small gripe depending on how comfortable you are squeaking around everywhere, but I found it kind of annoying that whenever I was walking around, these things were really squeaky loud. Now, that did get better over time. It kind of lessened over time, and I think probably what happened is the kind of the peak of the squeak happened after I rode to the Salmon Glacier. So when I was running up to the Salmon Glacier, I rode through this construction area, and it was just super, super dusty. All the dust, I was actually surprised how dusty it was. It got all of my camera gear and all that. So everything was super dusty. And that was that was the first day on my trip that I was off-road. So every day up until that, I was on the road. And I noticed it was after that they got super squeaky. And so I think what happened is the dust just got into these little pivot points here. And that was what was causing all the squeak. And then as I rode more and it kind of rained and it kind of wore it a little bit, the squeak went away. So now they're not squeaky at all. But in the beginning, they were really squeaky. So just kind of keep that in mind. That's a minor issue. A bigger issue though, a concern that I have, is the durability of this BOA system. These are just cables that you tighten up to tighten up your boot. And these are really thin looking cables. I don't know what these things are made out of. They just look like plastic to me. And my concern is how reliable are these? Because if this cable snaps and you're in the middle of absolute nowhere, you can't do your boot up. That's it. You're screwed, right? So that's a concern for me. I don't know how reliable these are. There are videos on YouTube of people who have this BOA system and it's broken on them, and then they haven't been able to get much support from either REVIT or BOA, even though BOA claims to offer a lifetime guarantee of these things. I don't know. But when I was on my trip, I remember kind of like doing these up every day and thinking to myself, like, that's a really, really thin little cable there that is tightening up this boot. And if that breaks, what are you supposed to do? Like, you can't tighten it up anymore, right? I guess you got to carry like an extra shoelace or something and try to route it through everything. I don't know if that's even possible. So this BOA system to me seems very convenient for getting the boot on and off. Yeah, it's super convenient for like tightening up and all that kind of stuff, but there doesn't seem to be any redundant system to that. If that breaks, you're screwed. Whereas if you have like a boot like this that's got, good old fashioned shoelaces, Well, if your shoelace snaps, you can just carry spares with you and just lace them up again, right? So that's the concern that I have about this BOA system, is I don't know what the reliability of that is like. And let's face it, if you're doing off-roading, you're putting a lot of pressure on this, because you're pushing on this a lot and you got to tighten up, and so you're on and off and all that. So you're putting a lot of stress on these things, and these cables are really small, really thin. So that's the concern that I have, is I just don't know how reliable these are yet, because I've only gone on one trip with them. I've seen some other people who've gone on longer trips with these things, and so far it seems to be okay, but there are also videos on YouTube where this is broken, and the person was like left stranded with boots that didn't quite fit. So that's my only concern with them. So final thoughts are they worth it? For me, they are. $1,000 Canadian, yeah, it's a lot of money. I like my ankles though, so I'm happy to spend that much money on boots that I think can last me a long time. So for me, they're worth it. For you, you just have to just determine what your budget is and whatnot. I'm sure there's some good quality boots out there that are cheaper and probably offer just as much protection. But from my research, what I did and what I found out was the fact that these offer the most protection short of a motocross boot. And for me, that is worth it.